Before I get started with this story, let me give a shout out to my patron, Jason, for sending this story to me. And this is coming out of Iowa. And I think based on the little bit that I have read about this story, I think I talked about this story a while back. And when I say a while back, I'm talking about like last year. Like it's not like a story that's coming from like 10 years ago. And it involves this guy right here whose name is Steven Vogel. And it involves a black man by the name of Michael Williams, where this guy basically committed what I would like to say, a racial attack and murder of this black man by the name of Michael Williams. And he was actually sentenced to pretty much life in prison. He pretty much got sentenced to that, or that's the sentencing that he will most likely get, which is well deserved considering the torture that he gave to Michael Williams. But I'm going to go over that with this article. It says an Iowa judge has just made sure that Steven Vogel will spend the rest of his life behind bars for killing a black man, Michael Williams, in 2020. After a jury voted to convict him of first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse, the murderer received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Judge Sean Showers gave the news to Vogel and his legal team on Monday, December 13th. At the sentencing hearing, the District 8A judge called him a cold-blooded murderer with hate in his heart. He continued, "These sentences are made for people like you who commit these horrific offenses and take others' lives without any regard for consequences." On September 16, 2020, the body of Michael Williams was found burning in a ditch in rural Jasper County. Medical examiners determined that Williams was killed 4 days before the corpse was burned and that he had died by strangulation. 4 people were arrested in connection to this murder: Steven Vogel, Julia Cox, Roy Garner, and Cody Johnson. Vogel knew Williams for several years and was changed with his death. The other 3 people, all white, were charged with abuse of a corpse, destruction of evidence, and as accessories to the crime. The motive for the killing was reportedly linked to a quote-unquote love triangle between Vogel, his girlfriend, and Williams. The state suggested that Vogel was jealous of Williams and had sent Facebook messages days before the murder to a friend about his desire to kill the 44-year-old man. 3 people also testified that Vogel told them that he killed Black Mike. One witness shared that Williams was clubbed in the head before he was hung by a rope in Vogel's basement. In review of the crime, the judge also said to Vogel, "You're why Iowa has life without the possibility of parole. You don't deserve to be on the streets. You don't deserve to see a parole board. You are a dangerous, cold-blooded killer. You'll have the rest of your life to think about what you did, the loss and the pain that you caused, and the precious life that you ended," he remarked. "You treated Michael Williams like he was not human," Showers continued. "You clubbed him, strangled him to death, kept him in your basement like an animal that you would kill. You wrapped his body up and set it on fire, and you dehumanized Michael Williams, and Mr. Williams did not deserve that." The judge offered Vogel an opportunity to say something in defense of himself. He chose not to. However, Williams' family shared their sentiments in the courtroom and directed their words to the man that took their loved one's life. Michael's son, Dante Williams, said, "You thought you would get away with what you did. You thought people didn't care enough about him to research and find out what really happened. That is not the case. There's been a lot of love behind my father." The deceased father's James Williams also spoke. He expressed how much he wanted to hurt Vogel. "I'm loving that energy. You burned his body, threw him in a ditch like he was garbage." His words simmered as he said, "You're very lucky that I'm holding myself back from jumping over this thing and breaking your neck." I say, why hold yourself back? That's the perfect opportunity to do so. Even if you didn't have the opportunity to break his neck, getting at least one opportunity to get one good swing on him. One of the last voices from the family to speak about the impact of the murder was Michael's maternal aunt, Paula Terrell. She shared that her sister, Michael's mother, had a stroke from the stress of his death and now lives in a nursing facility relearning how to walk. She further emphasized how depressed her sister has become. "In some ways, I'm glad my sister was not able to travel here for the trial. I'm sure the state's picture of her son's body in autopsy would have caused her demise. How do you tell your sister that the graphic pictures we all have seen of Emmett Till pales in comparison to the pictures of her son?" Police investigating the crime assert that race was not a factor in his death. Still, the family has maintained that it is, calling his death a lynching and connecting Williams' death to Till's by the unique similarities in the two black males' death. It's putting that rope around his neck and holding it for over 6 minutes, causing his death, is the definition of a hanging, a lynching, Terrell said in November. A white man lynched a black man over a white woman. So there you go, and there you have it right there. And for once, you can actually say justice was served. I don't know what the death penalty is like in the state of Iowa, but if they did the death penalty, that just means he would have just been sitting in the jail. Taxpayers probably would have been paying to keep him alive until they decided to finally take him out of here. Although, you know what, without the possibility of parole, that doesn't come out of the taxpayers' pockets. But like I said, I don't know what the policy or the death penalty is like in the state of Iowa. But one thing that stuck out to me was at the end of this article when his aunt was talking, and she was saying how the effects of what happened to her nephew, her sister's son, took a toll on his mother. It says she had a stroke and she ended up in a nursing facility having to relearn how to walk. It's just, it's amazing. Well, it's not amazing, but it's interesting how the death of a loved one can literally impact the health of the loved ones that they are no longer there to be with. And the stress, more than anything, the stress will definitely take a toll on their mental and definitely their emotional state. And in the case of his mother, 3 states: mental, emotional, and physical. Because like I said, you just never know what it's like. And then, it's wear and tear on the body when you're trying to fight for justice for your child or any loved one. It like I said, it takes a toll on the body. It literally is wear and tear of having to go here and go there and go here and go there, then have to sit in the courtroom with the person who did what they did. This might be your first encounter with them. You probably want to be like the dad and leap over the desk and want to break this person's neck, which, if that was me, it probably would have happened. They would have just had to hold me in contempt of court, because at this point, they've already sentenced him to what he's going to get sentenced to. And I have the final words. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, this is my only opportunity. If I don't strike now, I won't have a chance to strike. And I've seen videos on like YouTube and everything like that where you've had situations of people literally hopping desks and benches and throwing shit. Like, it literally turned into like a WWF match, like a Royal Rumble up in there. And rightfully so, because they said, this is not my only opportunity. I have all this rage. I'm willing to risk getting held in contempt of court. I might have to sit in a little small cell for a couple days before they release me. And it is what it is. Because even at the end of the day, while the judge would have to hold that person in contempt for for doing that, they probably don't even want to do it because they know the emotions are high. But because of the law, they have to. They probably don't want to, but they have to, because that's also disrupting court, because the court is still in session. It's not over until the judge bangs that gavel and says court adjourned. Then it's over. But at least he's getting what he deserves, and he looks like a straight up creep. But RIP to Michael Williams. Like I said, I definitely remember doing a video about this. It just went quiet and real silent since the event occurred. Because when I'm looking at the picture of Michael Williams on the side, I say, yeah, I definitely remember talking about this.